Hey everyone, Jennifer Lee Chan here, NBC Sports Bay Area. It is Wednesday. We just got the pre-practice report from Kyle Shanahan, and we walked out to the field to watch a little bit of the beginning of practice. Trent Williams again out after missing 4 games. He came back after testing out his ankle. It was still sore. He was kind of hobbling into the stadium. It was 4 games ago. He played in that game against the Seattle Seahawks, and then he has not been able to play again. So Kyle Shanahan talked about, yes, they do weigh those decisions. Is it better for him to play this game, potentially get worse, or, have him sit and rest up? But what they thought at the time was that his ankle injury would not get any worse, so that it would stay the same. So the choice was to put Trent Williams out there for that Seattle game, which they lost. And then he has not been able to play since. Doesn't look like he's going to come back by the end of the season, unfortunately, but he still is a member of the 49ers, so he could make it back. Kyle Shanahan said if he is healthy enough, it's just not looking that way at this point, but if he's healthy enough, they would play him no matter what the record is, no matter what the situation is. Also out of practice on Wednesday was Isaac Guerendo with a hamstring injury. That was from the game. He has had hamstring issues since he was a 49er. He's also had hamstring issues throughout his college career, so that was kind of a knock on him coming out in the draft. Unable to stay healthy for long periods of time. I don't know what his hamstring tendencies are, but there's some sort of treatment that he can get to help him eliminate those or at least reduce those problems. But as of right now, Isaac Guerendo not practicing on Wednesday. If he is unable to play, it's Patrick Taylor Jr. and then Israel Abanikanda, who is very new, just a couple weeks on the roster on the practice squad, and then actually not on the practice squad, on the active roster because they picked him up from the New York Jets. So it could be Patrick Taylor or Israel Abanikanda on Sunday in Miami versus the Dolphins and Mike McDaniel. Other players that were limited, Nick Bosa, Jalen Moore, and Malik Mustafa coming back because he missed the game with a chest and shoulder injury. Dre Greenlaw, who is good after playing 30 snaps in that game on Thursday night against the Los Angeles Rams, and Nick Zakelj, who was out with an illness. So, what I mentioned in that last video was about how important it is to re-sign Dre Greenlaw. Well, I wasn't in the locker room on Monday, but apparently that was the chatter from Deommodore Lenoir and from Nick Bosa, the fact that they need to get Dre Greenlaw back on the roster for 2025 because of what he brings to the field. He is a game changer. He's a playmaker, and they need to make sure he is the top priority to bring back in 2025 because that really changes how the defense is. I do think that they keep Nick Sorensen as defensive coordinator. I asked several players around the locker room what they thought of him. They thought he was doing a really good job. They aren't a blitzing team. It's not a blitzing scheme. They get pressure with 4 guys rushing. And the problem this year was without Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw, also Javon Hargrave, those 3 guys in the middle that were here last year, those guys aren't getting pressure up the middle. And what I was told by several players is that without the pressure, it changes how the secondary and the linebackers, everybody else, the other 7 have to play. So the scheme is not a blitzing thing. It is about pressure on the quarterback. And while Javon Kinlaw, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead might not have had huge stats, the pressure that they get on the quarterback, just the way they affect the pocket and how quarterbacks have to respond, that is enough for the rest of the 7 to do their job and have a good play on defense. So it's not necessarily Nick Sorensen. It is the fact that they didn't have the guys. Just think about how many injuries have happened on this defensive line. If they don't have the defensive line to get the pressure or move the pocket or at least get pressure in the pocket, that's not going to work. So the personnel has to fit the scheme and has to be executed well. So that's part of the reason why I think the defense hasn't played as well, but they really haven't played poorly. I mean, you look at how they played against the Los Angeles Rams. They kept them out of the end zone, 4 consecutive field goals. So it's not that they're not doing a better job. And Dre Greenlaw, I mean, the effect that he had on the defense coming back after being out for so long, the fact that he jumped right in and did not miss a beat, incredible. I mean, the 49ers cannot let him out the door. They just can't. So, but good thing that he is healthy. He spoke to us after he spoke after Kyle Shanahan spoke, and he told me how amazing it was for him to be able to run out of the tunnel. He actually didn't think it was going to happen. They were telling him that, yes, he's going to be the last one out of the tunnel when the defense gets called. But he's like, no, 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 let me go out and let Fred be the last one. Well, Fred's like, no, you're going to be the last one out of the locker room or last one out of the tunnel. And he said the feeling was unbelievable. He said he was so locked in the zone, though, he didn't hear the crowd yell, but I told him that it was the loudest crowd cheer for any player coming out of the tunnel. And he thought that was very cool. He said he didn't have really butterflies going in. He said he was kind of like more like excitement and energy to get back in the game and to be able to show what he's capable of, but not necessarily butterflies in like a nervous way. But he was ultimately so excited to get out there. He also said he's not worried about his contract at all, has not even thought about talking to his representation about getting re-signed to the 49ers or wherever he may go. Hasn't worried about that at all. He said he's just concerned about playing the next week, which is in Miami facing the Dolphins. So, um, I think that is the key piece that was missing on this 49ers defense. I also think, we've talked about it before. Nick Bosa has said it takes a while for defensive linemen to really hit their stride in this system. Yetur Gross-Matos has been really effective, but he was unhealthy. He had knee issues. He was on IR. So without him, Kevin Givens was dealing with a knee injury. Jordan Elliott was dealing with a knee injury. Leonard Floyd just said it took him a while to get up to speed and feel like himself in the system. So it's unfortunate that, they're hitting their stride now when there's probably no likelihood that they go to the playoffs. I know there's like 1%, but this is when defenses usually do hit their stride right around here, right around week 12 to week 14. But usually this is when they've got, 6 more games ahead of them. Unfortunately, the 49ers have 3 more games. There is a likelihood that they are not in the playoffs, but a tiny, tiny chance that they could make it. I know, insert your Jim Carrey meme at this point. But that's what's happening here at Levi's Stadium. Um, no crazy updates, just the fact that they are getting ready again for another game. The mood in the locker room seems good. There's camaraderie. Someone asked me in the comments, what is the locker room like? The players get along with each other? Do they enjoy playing next to each other? And they really do. I mean, George Kittle's kind of bouncing around, talking to everybody, saying that, uh, giving them positive encouragement as he always is. He's just, consistently positive. I see Fred Warner kind of talking to other guys. I see, Deebo Samuel with his side of the locker room talking to everybody. So it really is a very cohesive locker room, even with, the Devondre Campbell incident that happened. I think no one really expected that. And honestly, the locker room today, Fred Warner said, hey, he is a good guy. I respect him and I'm thankful for the contributions he made while he was here. But, sorry that it happened to end that way. So, other guys that I talked to also said they liked him, didn't think that it would end this way, but disappointing. All right, so that's it for today, Wednesday. We are doing 49ers Now, the live streaming show, and we also have the 49ers Talk podcast coming out today. We will do another 49ers Now tomorrow, Thursday, and I'll do another update for you there. But definitely, please subscribe. I really appreciate you watching. Leave a comment. I'll try to respond to them. Let me know what you'd like to hear, who you'd like me to talk to, and we'll continue from there. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll try to post some practice photos and videos as well. All right. Take care.